Hi, I'm Ambry and this is Ambry's Corner, and welcome back to my channel. If you're a new viewer, watcher, subscriber, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, watcher, subscriber. Hi guys, I am back today with another video for you guys. Today's video is story time. This is the first story about my time in retail. So if you'd like to hear about this story, please stick around and let's get into it. Just a little disclaimer before we get into this. I do not have no hard feelings against anybody in retail. I enjoyed my time in retail. This is all just for fun. This was maybe a year after I had graduated, and I was doing temping, and I was temping for a local agency in my town, and to get on at one of the plants around me. And so the plant that I wanted to go to, I didn't have enough experience to go to, so it said I needed to get like a year experience in somewhere, and then maybe I could get into that plant. So I had to wait a year. So I had put in the application for this particular store multiple times before, and nothing happened. I even had an interview once, and it just didn't work out. So they called me out the blue one day, asking me if I could come in for an interview. So about that time, I think me and my mom, we was on the highway heading out of town, and on the way out, they called me and they was like, hi, this is such and such from such and such. We're gonna say Shirley. So this is Miss Shirley from such and such. We would like you to come in for an interview today. And I asked what time. They said, is it possible for you to come in in the next hour? I said, all right. So me and Mama did it. Mama got off at the next exit and got us back home. I came upstairs, did my hair, and put on some more clothes, and we were off to the interview. So the interview went well. I talked about my experience in GD's class, me starting my channel, because at the time I had just started my channel. I also talked about my previous experience working in restaurants and things I had to do and stuff I did. You know how an interview go basically. So fast forward like a couple weeks later, just check up, let them know, keep me on the forefront of their minds that I really wanted and needed a job at that time. And I was desperate, very desperate. And so one day out the blue, I get a call, and they tell me that they have considered me for the job, and that they want me to come in for orientation next Saturday. And I also said, of course, yes, I would love to. So next Saturday comes around, and around this time, I had just got my license, y'all. Just got my license, freshly driving. So I didn't have a car yet, but my auntie, I don't know what was going on with my auntie. I guess she wasn't driving her car at the time. I don't know what was going on particularly with her car, but I asked her could I borrow it that day so I could go to my orientation, and she was like, yes. I had to get up mad early and go over to my auntie's house and get the car and come back here. I get the car and I go to orientation. Orientation goes as planned. They tell me what they expect, the rules, regulations, rules that they have in certain parts of the store, so like they go what I would do. And I had been a month in at this point. So a month in, I got to hang everything. So the first thing I learned when I got there was that every employee starts in the back room, and the back room is basically like where the all the boxes, all the products and clothing and stuff like that come in it. And so we had like a big old conveyor belt that wrapped around, and all around the conveyor belt was boxes of stuff that needed to be taken out, sorted, and put out on. Upon entering, I had to learn how to do certain things. So one of the rules was that we had to sort everything out, and so basically my manager, the manager of the back room at that time, we're just gonna call her Checkers for the sake of this video, Checkers. She was the manager of the back. She basically goes through with everything that has to be done. So I start with working at the clothing tables, and the clothing tables was where all the clothes were, and we had to sort the clothes from not from men's, women, but from pants, dresses, shirts, and baby clothes. That's how we did it. And so and coats, of course. And so I would, so basically the person that did that was like we call layupper. So we would lay up, and then the next person would be the hanger, and they would put hangers and sizes on the clothes and hang them up on little racks that we took out, that we rolled out to the floor to put the clothes out on the floor. So that was where I first started, and at first I was really slow at it. I was like, it would take like, if anytime I was doing it, they would have another person over there doing it, because I was just that slow. Sometimes I don't think they knew that I was looking at that stuff. I wasn't just, getting it ready to go. I was looking at some of it, so I don't think they knew that. So yeah, so the first thing I should tell you was that there was two older women in there. So I'm gonna name one woman. I'm gonna name one woman, Miss S. She's not the main character of this story, but she is. She did work there, and I did work with her a lot. And the next woman is named Mrs. C. And this is the person I'm about to be discussing. Like I said, everybody started in the back room, but it was most people's schedule. They specifically wanted to work in the mornings, and so these 4 people worked specifically in the morning. And around this time, I had an open schedule, so I would work. So when I first started, they had me working mainly in the mornings, and by the end of my time there, I would work mostly at night or in the afternoon. They mainly work in the morning in the back rooms, and so they would be there when the store first opened up. Miss C and Miss C are the main 2 people that trained me to work in the back room. Especially Miss C. She was the one telling me, because I know at one point we weren't putting sensors on clothes because of COVID, but then we started back putting sensors on clothes. And so then we started back, and she was showing me what clothes. It had to be like a certain price in order for us to put a sensor on it. And so she would tell me, oh baby, this needs to be censored. You need to censor this, censor this, censor this. Anything with this price on it or this price on it needs to be censored, just like that. And so each item, so we would get like purses, perfume, toys, all that stuff coming in. And so we would have to sort everything out by its department. Okay, with the main 2 I worked with when I first got in there, and they will always train me. Well, you know how it is when you work with old people, especially old people that been doing a particular job for a long time. Now I find that I gravitate towards older people more than younger people, which is why the 2 young girls that I was in there with, I didn't really get along with them at first. And not that anything happened or anything was said, but it was just like, I was kind of standoffish. I was shy, and sometimes my shyness could be taken for, oh, she just don't want to talk to us. And that's how one of the girls saw me, but we'll get into her on another day. S and Miss C were like that. They work like a smooth running machine. You know what I mean? They had their grooves. They knew how to do things. They were used to things. They just worked, and they worked well, and they was fast too, especially Miss K. Now I think Miss K had been there a little bit longer than Miss S, but Miss C was like the main one I would work with. And so, like I said in the beginning, I was laying up, and this is like I said, I was a month in at this point, so that's what I mainly did. But I would either lay up or hang, and I had got pretty accustomed to both. So I remember this one particular day comes around, and I'm in the back. It's morning time, and I'm in the back, and I'm laying up, and I'm the only one laying up. So at this point, I had got pretty good, and so I didn't really need it. They really didn't need 2 people. They really need 2 people laying up. And so the way the tables were set, like they were just like this. They were lined up just like this, and I was directly in the middle of both tables because I was laying up for both tables. Miss C pile was not. She did have like a lot of stuff on her table, but the way I was laying up was I was laying up everything on Mrs. S table, and then I would just take half, divide it in half, take it and put it on Miss C's table. And so I guess I had been doing it for a while at this point. And so when the manager walked back in, she said, all right, Yasmin. She said, you can stop laying up for Miss S. Just lay up for Miss C. I said, okay. And so I figured she just walked in on the middle, but I had laid up quite a bit for Miss S. So I turned around, and instead of just like moving around to her side of the table, I just turned around and I laid up from the opposite side of her table. And so I think I pulled off like the little line on like two boxes, two nice size boxes, and then most of those boxes was men's clothes. Now if you know anything about retail, when you hanging up pants, some retail stores like it to be hung a certain way. It just depends on what retail store you're working in. In particular, the particular store I worked in, the men's clothes had to be hung diagonally. It's like from the zipper. It's like it had to start from like the button to the pants, and you pull them out like that, and it had to be hung just like that. And so that's how all the men's clothes had to be hung, because it depended, because of the size and how heavy they were. It was just easier to hang them like that. You could hang them like you hung women's clothes, because men's clothes held a little bit more material than women's clothes. And so it was always very difficult to hang clothes and to find hangers that was thick enough to be able to handle the excess material that came on men's clothes. And so I was hanging up, and all that was coming out the boxes were pants for men and pants for women. And I guess after her table had got kind of low, so like when I was pulling pants out the boxes, anytime they got to a certain height, she would take some off of the stack and bring them to her side table, which I didn't mind, because it made more room for me to be able to lay up more things on her table. So in the midst of me hanging up, I guess she could tell that I'm pulling out nothing but pants. So I'm guessing she gets irritated, and in the middle of, and while she's getting irritated, I'm continuously pulling out pants. It's not my fault. That's just what's in the box. So then she decides to say something. She said, I know you see all these pants on this table. Why you keep laying up pants? Stop. You putting all these pants on my table, and you put hardly none on her table. Now, mind you, Miss S had a pile high, like taller than me, of pants to hang up. I had barely even got through the first box when she started complaining, and she was like getting mad irritated. And so one of the girls that worked in there, she was in the back at this time, and she heard Miss C going off on me for laying up all these pants on her table. And so I see her leave the room. And so Checkers walked in. She said, "Ladies, what's going on in here?" And she said, okay, I just said, well, I'm laying up like you asked me to do for Miss C. Well, she just like, and she was like, okay, well, you know, she said we have to be, she said, we can't exactly be picky about what we get, ladies. We just have to take what we can get and hang them. She said if you get more than the other, then she said, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. We just can't be choosy about what we do. We just have to hurry up and get them done, just like that. Right. Because that room was known for getting packed with boxes, so they had a certain time and a certain amount of things they wanted back there in that room, and a time they wanted that room. They expected that room to be empty by before the next shipment of stuff came in. So we was always working on the time crunch, and we always had to be on the move when it came to stuff. And the mornings was like the main time that they wanted us to bring out stuff and pull it out, and closer to nighttime to make it easier for the morning shift to be able to not have so much to do, just get the store ready to open up if they didn't have time that morning, you know, for whatever reason. And this kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth with her. Not that she did a lot of stuff, but like just because, like, you know, it wasn't really my fault, you know. It was just what came out. Whatever was in the boxes was what I was pulling out. So whatever box I pulled down that moment, if it was nothing but men's shirts or pants in there, that's what I laid up. That's what I was laying up. I couldn't exactly stop doing it. I guess she just felt like I was doing whatever I wanted to, and I wasn't laying up fair enough for her, and so she decided to check me about it. But it really wasn't my fault. Like I said, that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth about her. For a while, I did not talk to her. I didn't want to talk to her, and I think she could sense it too, cause like I felt like she started being real nice to me, making sure to speak to me when I came in, you know, just greeting me in the mornings and stuff like that whenever I worked. And then after my first month and a half there, like they completely stopped putting me on morning shifts. Like I would probably have a morning shift like maybe every other week after that. And yeah, that was the time I got yelled at for just doing my job, and I got yelled at for no reason. I have a bunch of stories about my time in retail, and it's been about a year since I've been there. So I think it's pretty safe to go ahead and start talking about some of it now. So yeah, so I'll hop into a lot more probably next year if you like, comment, subscribe to me, stay with you, and I will see you next one. Bye.